Would you say your fitness journey got easier or harder when you became a mom? I'm guessing most of us would say harder. Having kids turns your whole world upside down. But the benefits of moving our bodies consistently have been shown in research and practically in our lives over and over again. They can't be ignored. I would argue that consistent exercise helps us be the best moms we can be. It's good for our physical health, but it can also benefit our mental health. Today on the show, MK Stahl joins me. She's a gym owner and a trainer, and also a mama. This episode is going to help you see how fitness really can be a part of your mom life and why it really needs to be. Welcome to the Daily Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Meredith. I've led my family on a transformative health journey for over a decade, and now I help other families do the same. So this is a place where you can learn about healthy living and take the next step in your wellness journey. Hey, MK, thanks for joining the podcast today.
Thanks so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hear more of your story. I think what you're doing is so interesting. So can you introduce yourself to us and tell us about what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Mary Catherine Stahl. Most people call me MK. I live in a small town in Roanoke, Virginia. And back in 2017, I started as a client at Fit Body Boot Camp. And it had become the best part of my day every day. It wasn't just the workout. It was the culture. It was the community. Everybody knew everyone by name, the coaches. It was just such a fun environment to be in. And at the time, I was 27 years old, had no idea what I really wanted to do for my, career in life. I was in my second job out of college. I was newly married, just trying to figure out all the things. And boot camp had really just become the best part of my day. And I just kept telling myself, if these people can do this, I think I could do it. This would be the most fulfilling job ever, to wake up and help other people with their health and fitness. And so I just kind of rode that high for a little while. And my husband and I started looking into franchise ownership. And 9 months later, we opened up our first location in Blacksburg, Virginia. And then to date, I've opened 3 locations. I'm working on my 4th right now. I have exited some of them and kind of passed the torch to other leaders. I actually sold one of my locations to a client, and then I sold one of my other locations to my head coach. And I also help recruit new owners for the Fit Body Bootcamp brand. And I'm primarily targeting the state of South Carolina right now. So if you're listening to this and you live in the Carolinas, definitely send me a message. But I try to help other people who want to be their own boss, who are passionate about health and fitness. I help them open their own Fit Body Bootcamp location and really just live a fulfilling life and have such a fulfilling career with that. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell.
Yeah, I love that. So in 2017, when you started newly married, when you started going to Fit Body Bootcamp, was exercise something that was new to you, or had that already been kind of a part of your routine?
So I had always been very self-motivated when it came to working out. I was a runner. I would go to, big box gyms and work out on my own, but I had never dipped my toes into group fitness before. So that was my first experience with group fitness. I attended a few yoga sessions and yoga classes at the campus gym when I was in college, and that was fun, but I never really had joined a gym like Fit Body where I felt like I was a part of a community. So that was very new for me.
Yeah. Our gym is very community oriented too. And I agree with you. Like totally different experience at a gym when you really have that community.
Oh, definitely. And I went to boot camp this morning, and it's like you look forward to seeing those same people and just having those little, touch point conversations. Like, hey, how was your weekend? And it's just nice to have that, because as an adult, and I'm sure you feel the same way, especially as a mom, you feel alone a lot. And I primarily do my job at home now. And so I'm working at home a lot, and I'm running all over the place with the kids. And sometimes I just need that 30 minutes for me to be with other people where I'm not talking about my kids and I'm focusing on myself. And it's just so great to have that outlet.
Yeah. Couple questions just about the group fitness idea and concept. So How do you facilitate that as a gym owner? Like, what really makes those pieces fall together where people can come in and really get connected?
Yeah, that's a great question. So all of our sessions, like you have to book your session in advance. And so you have an app on your phone where you do that. And within our sessions, you are broken up into small groups. So you're usually working out with anywhere from like 3 to 6 people at a station. And so you'll move around the room with that state or with that same group of people. And every time you come in, it is a different workout. So you're going to start somewhere different. You're going to start doing something else. You'll likely work out with different people. However, you know how it is. Like most people, they get into that routine and the rhythm of going to the same sessions every day for the most part. So typically you'll see those same people. One thing we do in the beginning is we walk around the room, we give everybody a high five. Like we start the class off the same way every single day. And then at the end, we do a group stretch. We go around the room and say like something we're working on this week or a win that we had over the weekend. Just a fun way to get people engaged in conversation. And then also we'll bring it in and break it down at the end. We'll put our hands in, we'll break it down on family. Usually the coach will have some sort of motivational saying of the day or the week that they leave us with. But we do little things like that. Another thing that we do is we'll have community events. So like this weekend at one of our gyms, it's one that I actually don't own anymore, but I attend every day. We are doing a mommy and me workout. So bring your kids. We're going to work out as a group with our kids. We're going to do stretching. We're going to have like a relay. It's going to be so much fun. Then we have other events like the Murph that's coming up. Yep. We'll do the Murph together as a facility. Just little things like that where, you know, back to what I said about how we don't have a lot of opportunities to be with other adults in our lives as we get older. It's just a way for us to come together as a community. And we're all kind of like like-minded people. We're working towards bettering ourselves. So I like to surround myself with those kinds of people. And I'm sure you do too, and our listeners do as well.
Yeah, it's really neat. It sounds like your instructors really do a good job of leading that community feeling. Yeah, which is good because I think as I'm thinking about group fitness and my like first few experiences with the group fitness community, it also is a little bit intimidating at first. The whole fitness thing can be intimidating in general, you know, if you're not used to that and feel unfamiliar. But then if you're going into a place where everybody kind of knows each other and you don't really know anybody, then you're like, oh my gosh, that can be like a little bit awkward. But it sounds like you guys really have a way of bringing everybody in.
We do. And to that point, so what we usually do is we have, you know, people that have been coming to boot camp for many years, and we call them like our VIP members. And so if we have someone coming in for their first session, say it's a Monday, because everyone loves to start a new gym on a Monday. Say we have someone come in and we have a VIP that's there. We'll say like, hey, Becky, you've been coming for 3 years. Do you think you could take Militia under your wing and she could work out with you today so that she knows what's going on and she can feel more comfortable? And so a lot of times we'll do that. And that'll help, like that'll make the new person feel more comfortable. That also makes the VIP member feel like really cool because they were appointed the person to show the new person around.
That's brilliant. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really cool. So when do you find time to work out during the day? I guess, first of all, I would love to know when, because you just mentioned how you're going to that gym and all these different activities. Yeah. So I want to talk about that. But I guess before that, like, so you started the Fit Body Boot Camp journey, 2017, newly married. So when did kids come into the picture for you?
Yeah, so I'd always wanted to have kids young. And so I was like, okay, if I'm going to build a business, I'm going to grow my family at the same time. This is just how this is going to work. And so I had my daughter in 2018. So, I mean, like a year and a half after opening up my first location. To be honest, looking back, I don't feel like I struggled with that at all. It was really when the second kid came in and the second business was going, I was like, whoa, this is tough. This is hard to manage it all. I can't be in 2 places at once. But to answer your question, like I work out whenever my schedule allows, and I'm a very flexible person. I'm a very disciplined person. So every single day, for the most part, except for on Sundays, I usually allow that to be my rest day. I get a workout in, and usually it's anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. Fit Body Bootcamp workouts are only 30 minutes. So that's what I love about that is like quick in and out and you're done and you get an amazing workout in 30 minutes.
Yeah. And that's already planned for you. You don't have to think about it.
You don't have to think about it. But because I can't be at Fit Body all the time with my kids and their schedules, like I just make it work at any time. So like I don't have a schedule in which I'm like every single day I'm going to get up at 5:30 and I'm going to work out. I just don't do that to myself because right now my 3-year-old is in our bed every single night. And sometimes I might be up, at 3 o'clock in the morning dealing with something with one of them. And I'm not going to get up at 5:30 and work out. I'm just not going to do that. And so I remain very flexible when it comes to my schedule with working out, but also I'm very disciplined. So I figure out how I'm going to make it work within my schedule.
Yeah. And did you feel like, since you've already been, a health-minded person, working out was part of your lifestyle even before your Fit Body Bootcamp journey started, how did a mom change that for you? Did anything change mentally? Like, was your perspective different after being a mom? Like, what were some of those processes like for you continuing that journey, but now with kids?
Right. I would say once I became a mom, I realized I needed to give myself more grace and, back to that flexibility. I needed to also be mentally flexible when it came to the fact that I don't need to work out every single day. And there are going to be seasons, there are going to be weeks, there's going to be these tough times where you just can't fit it in. And so I used to feel, because I was a gym owner and I was a coach, I was coaching for many years. Even when I had my daughter, I would coach 5 to 7 sessions a day. I was exhausted. And I'm also working out myself. So I was in the best shape of my life after having my daughter because I really threw myself back into it. And it wasn't until after I had my son really where I was like, I can't sustain that. Like I have to figure out a way that I can take care of me, my physical health, my family, my mental health. And I have to wear all of these hats. And in order for me to do that, I have to allow myself some grace, allow myself to have these rest days and be flexible. And I can't have such a rigid schedule. And I can't say like, every weekend I'm going to meal prep. Like that just doesn't happen as a mom. Like I wish I had a private chef and that could happen, but it's not going to. And I think sometimes especially as a gym owner and people who they really want to dedicate their schedule and their time to being a healthy person, they get so stuck in the fact that everything has to line up perfectly. They have to check all the boxes. And that's just not how life works. And so the quicker you can give up that mindset, the quicker you can accept that like things are going to happen, just control what you can control and let the rest go. And so that's kind of what I had to adopt when it came to managing everything and the kids.
That's really good advice. And since we're already kind of talking about some of the struggles that go along with being a mom and trying to put like fitness into your life, what have you seen as, a mom yourself and working with lots of moms in your business and at the gym? What have you seen as some of the reasons why they just kind of put fitness on the back burner and stop making it a priority in their life?
It's easier to use your kids as an excuse. It's easy. It's easy to use them as an excuse, and we all do it. Your friend asks you to go to lunch, and you're like, "Oh, sorry, I have something with the kids." Like you can use your kids as an excuse all the time, and moms get so used to doing that they put them first. And they put their kids on this pedestal and they say, well, I can't take care of me because I have to take care of them.
Yep.
And I actually just went to a success summit in Dallas a few weeks ago. And we had this great speaker, Rachel Luna. I'm not sure if you ever heard of her. And she was giving a talk talking about how too many women today, we are so focused on our kids that we use them as an excuse and we use them as a way to get out of doing the thing that we were meant to do. And whether it comes to your career, your job, or anything, taking care of yourself, there's all these things as women that we want to do. And we feel so deep inside, like we're yearning to do these things. But then we're like, nope, can't do it. It will be too hard. It'll be too inconvenient for my kids' schedule, for my family schedule. I have to take care of everybody. And so too many times I see moms do that. And even people who like they start going to the gym, like they join a 28-day challenge and they get so excited and they come for the first week or two and they start seeing results and they start feeling really good. Well, then they get the flu or their kids get the flu and they're out of commission for a week or two. And then they just think, oh, now's not the time. There's never going to be a perfect time. You're always going to be going through some sort of season, no matter what, a good season or a bad season. You could think of a million excuses why you shouldn't make the time for yourself. And so I think to answer your question really is we as women, we put our kids on this pedestal in which we feel like we don't deserve, we're not worthy of taking that time for ourselves. But you are worthy of taking that time because the more physically fit and the better you feel and the better you can show up every day, better mom you're going to be. You're going to be able to take care of those kids more. You're going to be able to be happier playing with them. And I just wish more women could stick to their routine long enough to feel that and to see that, because the second you do, something clicks and something switches up here. And it's easier to stay committed once you start seeing that.
Yeah. I've heard what you are saying kind of reiterated as, you know, you can use your kids as an excuse or you can use your kids as the reason for taking care of yourself.
And I mean, I get it. Like, I have done it. Everybody's done it. We're all guilty of it. It's just like, you have to keep reminding yourself, like, okay, this is what I did today. I put my kids first and that's fine. But tomorrow I'm going to get in there. I'm going to do it. And like, I just do that every day. Like, just take it one day at a time. You don't have to like make it so complicated.
Yeah. I think it goes back to that flexibility mindset that you've had, because there's always going to be a give and take as a mom where there's going to be a sense of urgency some days to do things for your kids if they're sick or whatnot that you just have to do. Right. But then there's other days where you can prioritize yourself. And I have felt that to be true of myself, what you said about when you do prioritize yourself as far as taking care of yourself, making sure that you're working out and eating healthy and doing those things. Like, I do show up better as a mom. I know that for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, great advice. I love that. Has your passion for fitness spilled out into other areas of your life as far as health and wellness? Have you seen a kind of a correlation to that, or do you feel like fitness is your main thing?
Oh, that's a good question. Something I'm interested in recently is, okay, so like once you get into this space, especially as like a gym owner, you know how it is. Like, you're on your phone and you're looking at people working out and then you see everybody's working out and it's the algorithm, you know, you see all the fitness stuff. And I feel like I'm just surrounded by so much information. So sometimes I have to like take a step back and be like, okay, what do I actually believe? What am I going to feed into? And something recently that I have been interested in is like the EMF that our phones and our watches and all of our technology around us, what that is, putting into our bodies. And so I've stopped wearing my Apple Watch. So we'll see how long I can do that. Something else too is like alcohol. Like, I have always been one where it's like, drink in moderation, go out with your friends. It's okay if you have a few cocktails. And I'm not like knocking anybody who does, but I'm like very cautious now about alcohol is poison. It is toxic. And it's like the number one thing that you can put in your body that leads to multiple different types of cancer. And so I'm very cautious about that. So I think like once you get into this space, there's, again, so much noise, so much information. You have to kind of pick and choose what you follow and what you want to practice. I guess another one too is with my kids. Like, just yesterday, we're grocery shopping and my daughter said, can I buy, like the big tub of cheese balls, like the big plastic tub cheese balls? She's like, can we get these? And I said, no, I want you to live to be 100. And she was like, what? I'm like, we're not. But then she also has the icing frosted animal crackers in her basket. So I'm like, okay, which one?
Yeah, right. It's maybe narrow down to one, right?
Exactly. It's so hard because we all do things every single day, like whether it's things we put in our body that we consume or even that we consume with our mind. There are things that are unhealthy and that are bad for us, and you can't eliminate all of them.
Right.
So like as a professional in this field, I have to just kind of be mindful of what I'm going to feed into right now and how I can kind of like sustain it for the long term. Because again, with alcohol, I'm not going to never drink alcohol, but I will limit it. Like I'll have maybe a cocktail a week, or if I'm going on vacation, I'll limit it to that. But there's too many extremes out there, and I don't feed into that like extreme diet culture or health culture.
Yeah, extreme anything is usually not sustainable. So
No.
Yeah. A little funny story about the EMF. Like, it's awesome to hear you saying that you're thinking about that and concerned about that. And I think there's more and more research coming out about that. My husband bought an Apple Watch and like within a week was having like radiating pain up through his elbow and upper arm and things like that. And as soon as he took it off, it went away. So not everybody realizes or recognizes like pain specifically. But yeah, I think so. I think it can affect like your strength and things like your, if you're wearing it on your arm, your grip strength, your arm strength. And
wow.
Another easy thing to do with that would just be to turn your Wi-Fi off at night. So we have ours on a timer. And so trying to mitigate that exposure a little bit. Again, you're not gonna be able to get away from all EMF, exposure in our world, but there's definitely easy ways to mitigate it. And so it's that balance of trying not to go to extremes. And, I'm not going to be able to completely rid my house of EMFs, but there are easy ways that you can mitigate it. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. I need to start doing that. Just turn the Wi-Fi off. And I know people like that sleep with their phones out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
I should do that. I definitely should do that. My thought behind that is, what if there's an emergency and my parents, as they're aging, I'm like, what if they need me?
Yeah. I just keep mine in my bathroom.
Oh,
yeah. So it's not too far away. I can definitely hear it, if it starts ringing or dinging or anything like that. So I feel like that's a happy medium where it's far enough away that I'm probably fine, but I can also still hear it because I'm like you, especially as a mom, like you need to hear things. If we live in tornado alleys, tornado season right now. So I need to hear if there's a weather alert,
Right. Totally.
Yeah. I feel like another easy connection with this whole fitness piece is food, because once you start working out, it's so easy to start making the connection between like, if I go into a workout having just ate at McDonald's, like I'm going to feel terrible. Right? I think it just automatically makes you more mindful of what you eat.
Oh, definitely. And I think a lot of times people say like, 80% is nutrition. Well, I understand that. Like that is true. I think fitness is the catalyst, because to your point, if you're going to the gym every morning, you're probably not going to go through the McDonald's drive-thru to get a biscuit for breakfast. Like you're just probably not going to do that.
Right.
Well, I think if you just start that habit of working out a few days a week, you're going to be more mindful of what you put in your mouth.
Yeah, that's such a great motivator, because you want to feel great during your workout and be able to get a great workout while you're there. And you can't do that if you're doubled over in stomach cramps because you ate terribly that day.
Right. Yeah. And I will say too, like there are many people, so we'll do these challenges at the gym, like 28 days or a 6-week challenge. And during the challenges, it's like, 3 things: get your sleep, track your nutrition, and come to boot camp. And there will be people that they will use the thing that they had to take away for the challenge. So, chocolate cake, say that's your kryptonite. You're like, I love chocolate. I love ice cream. Say that's the thing that you're saying, I'm going to remove for the 6 weeks. Well, then that's the thing they reward themselves with. And I'm like, don't reward yourself with the thing you took away to get to the goal that you set for yourself. Like think of something else. And I think too many people, like we have to change our mindset around food, around like the good and bad foods, and just look at it all as one and focus more on what are you fueling your body with that makes you feel good and perform and like just show up as your best self. Who cares about the calories and the sugar and the fat and all of that? It's more about like, is this actually good for my body? Like for me personally, I would much rather eat like a huge salad with like avocado and all the yummy things than a Big Mac. Like, no thanks, because I'm going to still be hungry after I eat that Big Mac. But if I eat like a big bowl that has volume with all of these nutritious foods, I'm going to feel satisfied. So I think it's just recognizing more about how you feel, to your point, like when you're working out, and what did you eat to feel that way?
Yeah. Well, what you're saying is that you're being mindful of your food. And I think that's really the most important thing about food and nutrition is just being mindful, right? You're asking yourself questions. What's going to make me feel good? What's going to fuel me for what I need to do today? How do I feel after I eat it? Like, in that mindfulness is a huge, like, motivating factor to make good choices.
Right. Yeah.
So you've been doing this for quite a while. And you're a mama, a business owner. What has motivated you to stick with it? I mean, you kind of talked about moms who kind of get started and then get off track and then it kind of falls apart. So what has it been for you that has kept you consistent in really making fitness a priority?
So I'll speak to like two different sides. So for me personally, I always want to feel and I always want to be in control with how I feel and how I look. I don't want to be relying on our medical system because they're unreliable. And I want to do everything that I can to show up and live the best life that I can. So that is the number one for me. Is like I just want to feel good all the time. I don't want to be the person that says I have a beach trip coming up, so I'm going to diet. I'm going to extreme diet for 6 weeks. I'm going to go to the gym every day. I'm not going to eat any carbs because I have this beach trip coming up. I always want to be ready for that beach trip. Like I just want to live my life like that. And I want to inspire other people. The other side of that is there are too many people today who are struggling with obesity. And even just yesterday, I'm scrolling my phone and I saw this ad that Women's Health put up. And it was a picture from 1995 of a families at the beach. It was just an average day, families at the beach. Everyone looked, pretty normal, pretty fit. And then it was present day, families at the beach, and everyone is overweight. And I thought about that picture I saw all weekend. I went to the kids museum with my kids on Saturday. And as I'm sitting there with 75 other parents on a Saturday, I'm looking around and 90% of them are overweight. And that's a problem. That's a real problem. And I want to be a part of that solution. Like I want to help the mom who didn't come from a family where her parents were invested in her health and wellness and wanted her to grow up and be strong and healthy and focus on muscle and protein. I want to help that mom be educated on why it's time for her to take control of her health and for her to flip the narrative for her family, because she wants her kids to live a healthy life and do the same for their children. And so I think it's just like, if we can switch the narrative and if I can help other women do that, like that is my true passion, is just to help that mom who's not feeling like her best self. I want to help her show up every day and be like, I love this life I'm living. I love this body I'm in. Thank you, God, for this body that I'm in. And I can go out and do anything I want because I have my health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the obesity conversation. Yeah, no, that's great. Stay on that soapbox, please. Yeah, it's so important to talk about, like, just the obesity conversation in general. Like, there's been such a move toward body positivity, which I am for, but we can't just like accept obesity because it literally increases like the cause of death across the board.
Right.
Like, yeah, it destroys your longevity, right? And so like we have to keep talking about that.
Yeah. And to your point, the body positivity, like I'm all for that. I'm not saying anybody needs to be like stick thin. And I actually shared a message about this the other day. Like I was at the pool, our pool just opened, and I'm talking to another mom and she said, "Oh, I'm not ready to be in a bathing suit yet." And I was like, "Why? You look great. Stop. You look wonderful." And no, she's not stick thin, but she looks healthy and she does go to the gym and she does eat healthy food. And like, she's an active mom. And my message is to anyone listening, like, if you're doing all the things, if you know that you're taking care of yourself multiple days a week by going to the gym and you're feeding your family healthy meals 80% of the time, if you don't have 6-pack abs, that's okay. Like, still rock the bikini, wear the bathing suit. just do the best you can with what you have and just stay on that path. Because as long as you stay on that path, you're going to continue to make progress and you're going to feel good.
Yeah. That feeling good aspect too is another great motivator to stick with it. It's not just how I'm going to look in my bikini on vacation this summer. It's feeling good, right? For the long haul, like feeling good when I have grandkids someday, right? Another motivating factor for me is just being an example for my kids. I think that it's sometimes hard for moms to take time for themselves, but if we don't, then we're actually giving them an example of don't take care of yourself. Right?
Yeah.
Which is not what I want for my kids. And so if you kind of reverse that, you have to think like, what am I teaching my kids by what I'm doing? Because they're watching us, right? They're watching us as an example of, oh, this is how I should live, whatever you're doing. And if you're not working out, you're not taking care of yourself, you're not thinking about your nutrition, right? Then in effect, like even if you're not doing it verbally, you are teaching your kids.
Yeah. Well, with our kids, like things are caught, not taught. And you're normalizing it by showing them that you're going to do a 30-minute workout in your basement, or taking them to the gym with you, or taking them to the track and running around while they're playing. Like they're seeing mom do that. So they're going to grow up thinking like, well, this is just what we do. And that's great. Like that's what we want. And that's how we have to change that narrative, because for too long, I even think this still exists. Too many moms think that they have to have the perfect scenario with like their childcare in order to work out. They think they have to find the gym with a childcare, or they have to have a babysitter. Like it doesn't have to be that complicated. I know it's probably not the workout that you're really loving, but you can do one in your living room when your kids are around you. Like you totally can. Like you can make it happen. I know it's probably not as fun as going to a gym with other people when you do have childcare, but again, back to just work with what you have right now.
Yeah. Make it a priority no matter what your restrictions are. And something is always better than nothing. What would you hope that your kids gain from you as they go into adulthood? What are kind of the nuggets about health and wellness that you really hope that they glean?
I think going back to like that fitness is the catalyst to just longevity for me. Like I very much feel that on the days where I have no energy, like if I can get a workout in, I'll have the energy to do everything I need to do. And
isn't that weird how that works out? Like you go and like expend this energy and then you have more energy.
Yeah, it really is. And it really for me is all about the mindset. Like fitness helps me, like as my body is moving, my mind is grooving, like I'm able to just mentally show up as that person that I want to be when my body. And so my daughter has ADHD, and sometimes like we have to take a moment where I'm like, all right, let's refocus. Let's, look at me. Let's do something else. And there will be times where I'm like, let's do some jumping jacks, or let's just like run around a little bit. And I hope that I'm teaching her like just moving your body is going to help you do all the things that you want to do. It's going to help you stay healthy. It's going to help you show up. It's going to help you be alert and happy.
Yeah. What is the message that you want women listening to really hear from you today?
Just make yourself a priority. When you take care of you, you can take care of everyone else. And, going back to me sharing about my friend at the pool, like, we're not all going to have 6-pack abs, and we don't have to look like supermodels. And we all struggle with that. Like I, even as someone in this industry, like after having 2 kids, and I'm a petite person, I have the saggy skin all around my belly button, and I've looked up getting that surgically removed 10 times, or probably not. But I'm not going to do it because I'm like, why? I don't have to look perfect. I'm not a model. I'm not going to look airbrushed. I'm just going to continue to do whatever I can do to show up as my best self. And I hope that other women will just try to adopt habits that they can fit into their current lifestyle that aren't extreme, that they can maintain and sustain in the long run.
Yeah, that's so good, MK. I love that. And just in chatting with you today, what really stands out to me is that you have such a balanced and mature, really, perspective on a fitness journey, how it's connected to other things in your life, how you can have grace with yourself, but still be dedicated. Just all the things, like such good information. Thank you for sharing it today. Thank you for what you're doing, for your work with women and being an inspiration.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
Thanks for listening to today's episode on the Daily Wellness Podcast. We hope that you found it helpful for your own wellness journey. And if so, we'd love for you to leave a review. Then come back and listen for review shoutouts on upcoming episodes. For more information, check out the show notes and connect with us on our website, dailywellnesscommunity.com.